Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I will show you how to draw the grid for your colored pencil drawing or for any drawing that you decide to do later. First of all, we need to draw a grid and a border on our final paper. And so you'll open up to a new page in your sketchbook, and our goal is to create a border around. One side is going to have a 1-inch border, that would be the top if it's a horizontal drawing. And the right side and left side need to have a 2-inch border, and the bottom should have a 2-inch border. Now, if you are drawing vertically, you will still have a 2-inch border on the top and bottom, 2-inch on the left, and a 1-inch on the right. The reason why we need a border is because for our drawing, when you printed it to be 6 inches by 7.5 inches. So this is that length in the Google drawing. This person edited it, and it is indeed the right size. The reason why we need it that size is that we will be putting a grid over top, and it has 10 squares by 8 squares. We are going to create a bigger version of that grid within our 8-inch by 10-inch box on our paper. That way, when you draw, you can focus on little sections rather than looking at the big image, and you can just draw the contour lines square by square so that you can achieve accuracy with your artwork. I will want to cut this down so that I don't have a lot of extra paper. And then what I will do is tape it just with 2 pieces of tape on the top, 2 pieces so it creates a hinge, so I can always flip it over if I need to see the image. So the tape will look like this. Flip it over. I'm actually going to put 2 pieces of tape just on one of the sides. And then I can place my grid on top like that. And if there is a little bit of extra that goes off the grid, that's okay too. So now I have my grid on my image. Today we'll focus on drawing the grid. The first step is, again, drawing your border. I will take my ruler and on the right side of your paper, line up the 0 with the edge of the paper and mark the 1-inch mark. Drag your ruler to the other side and draw a 1-inch mark as well. I need a longer ruler. We do have the plastic ones. And I will connect those 2 lines with a very light line. One thing that's nice about these rulers is that you can line up the middle line or the edge to create your line. But what I'm going to do down here then, we'll start on the right side actually. I need to mark 2 inches in. So I have my 1-inch border. The other sides have to have a 2-inch border. So I'm going to mark 2 inches in from the right side at the top, 2 inches in from the left side from the edge. And I'm going to connect those 2 lines with a very light line. It works better to drag the pencil towards yourself very lightly. I'm barely holding on to it. I have my 1-inch border, 2-inch border. You can erase your extra line. And I need a 2-inch border on this side. I'm going to go from the perforation instead of the rings. So mark the 0 with the perforation, 2 inches at the top, 2 inches at the bottom, and connect. You can erase your extra line. And from the bottom, the same thing, 2 inches from the bottom, mark the 0, mark at the 0 or the 2-inch, and then connect. I need my long ruler as well. You'll have to share the longer rulers. And again, I can actually go from the bottom of my paper with the edge, line up my dots, and I'm just going to draw within the 2 side borders. That is the first step. So now you can double check. I have 10 inches wide and 8 inches high. That's the size of the paper that we need, because now we're going to create our grid. On the left side, you are going to mark every inch. So hold your ruler very still and mark every inch on the left side. Don't mark the edges because those are the squares. You should have 8 even sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the right side, do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be the end of the picture. We are going to connect those lines by drawing really light lines. These have to be so light because they will be erased at the end. After you draw your pencil contour drawing, you are going to erase these grid lines before you start adding colored pencil. Otherwise, they will show up. So I am barely dragging my pencil across my paper. I'm barely holding it and pressing down. You shouldn't be able to see these lines from 10 feet away. There we go. We have 8 sections drawn. Now at the top of the paper, mark every inch as well, and you should have 8 even sections at the top. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry, you should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10's the end. And I will do the same thing. Connect my lines. Make sure your ruler matches up. You might want a helper, someone who assists you in making sure the ruler lines up before you draw the lines down, because this will affect the accuracy of your drawing. If it's crooked, that will not work. Just double checking to make sure both ends line up before I draw. All right, now I have my grid of 80 squares. And when I look at my small drawing, I have the same proportions or ratio of squares within the image. When you draw, you'll be looking from square to square. Sometimes it's helpful to label the squares to write 1 through 10, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, so that you can remember where on the grid you are. But it is also helpful to cover up some of your drawing so you can keep track of what square you are in as you're working. Our goal is to get our borders drawn 1 inch, 2 inch, 2 inch, and then to draw a 1 inch grid within the drawing space.